Hello and welcome to the tutorial on how to make a saving and loading game progress system in Python. Let's get started. Up first, our game stores information like the player's health, name, inventory, etc. So how are we planning to do this? Easy. When we launch out Python file, aka our game, the computer puts it into RAM, which stands for random access memory. This is the place where every program on your computer is stored on the runtime. The same thing goes with the data we store in our program: variables, lists, and dictionaries. So when you exit the program, all of its data is lost in case you didn't save it. So we are planning to do the same thing that all other programs do, saving game data to another file. This way, we no longer store our data in RAM, now we store it in our disk, which is permanent, and we won't lose our progress. In this episode, I will teach you how to work with files and JSON file format in Python. Don't worry, it's gonna be simple. Interacting with files in Python is very simple and doesn't require any external libraries. To open a file, we'll use a function called open. This function takes two arguments. The first is a file name, and the second is the mode in which the program will open the file. More on that later. So, now when the file is opened, we will use the read function to read the file's content. Let's save it to the variable and test it out. As you can see, it works just fine. Now let's try to write our own content to the file. We'll create some variables that will represent game data. And now, it's time to tell you about file modes. There is a lot of them, but I will tell you about the most used ones. So there is R, which stands for read, and it's chosen default. Also there is W, which stands for write. Note, if you will select one, another wouldn't work. Okay, now let's write our game data to the file. As you can see, it works. Now let's add some more variables, to really put this thing to the test. Now, as you can see, it doesn't work the way it was supposed to, but we want it to be on separate lines. There is a special combination of two characters that is technically the return button of the strings. They are called /n, or next line. Now, it works just fine. Okay, we implemented the way to store game info in the file. But if we can't load it, it will just take up space. So we are gonna use a more elegant approach. It's called using JSON syntax, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And no, don't worry, it's not as bad as JavaScript language. So to allow us to easily write and read from JSON files, we need a library called JSON. It's already included in Python, so all you have to do is to import it using import JSON. First up, we got a function parameter called load. It takes only one argument, that must be a file variable. For it to start parsing correctly, we need to adjust our file to match the JSON syntax. It's simple and similar to Python's data types, so you don't need to learn anything new. Now let's see if it works. We just need to print it out. Nice. It works. And we are now able to easily access our data like we would be able to do it with Python native data types. You did a very good job if you got so far. Keep going, we are almost finished. All we are left to do is simply implement the way to save our data in the file. The function to store data in the file is called dump. It takes two arguments. The first is data you want to store, and the second is a file you want to put data in. Let's create a dictionary and store it to the file. Nice, we got it. It successfully stored all data in the file. But as you can see, it looks a bit different. It's all on one line, still parsable, but it will look more readable if we'll add an indent. It's quite simple, just add an indent argument, and we'll call it a day. And here we are. Now you understand and can make your own saving and loading system. There is just one small thing to show you. It's a tip. Use DTJSON extension to files that are using JSON syntax. It's a good practice, plus it gives you this cool icon. You can take a look at the source code in my GitHub, link below. That's everything you need to know. Now you can subscribe or like this video to become a fella bro. Thank you for watching.